Okay, so my experience in Thailand for the past 30 days. How has it been? Well, when I first got here, the first agent that I had tried to explain to me about some of the things that I was going to see. And she basically put it as in, when you walk around, you're going to see a lot of men, say men from their 30s to way past retirement, like all gathered together. And I really didn't understand what she meant by that until I experienced it. And so I wanted to be close to the stuff that when I wanted to engage and be around crowds, 'cause I have no problems with being around crowds. I am an empath, and I've learned how to be in a group of people and not absorb their energy. Only when energy is like completely off, or if there's something source wants to show me like danger or cautious or don't go that way, then I respond. But I'm okay with groups of people for the most part. Every now and then I get somebody with some off energy, and I just walk a different way. You know, I don't absorb it. I've learned how to be in my golden bubble and not absorb everything that comes near me. So I live close enough where I can just hop in the Grab, go down there to the mall, walk by the beach, see all the little stuff that's going on, and then get in my little Grab and carry my behind back home where it's nice, quiet, and peaceful. You saw how it was downstairs, nice and peaceful. It's quiet and peaceful in my house. Sometimes I don't turn on the TV. I can just sit here and just look at my view. And so here's an experience that I had, because I've seen several videos about men going overseas, you know, don't like the black woman, blah, 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 blah. I don't engage with that. When I see it, it's like, it's just a cry for healing. And, you know, until that individual heals their relationship with their mom, then they'll be able to find the person, their divine counterpart, that they're going to spend the rest of their life with. But until, and this is for everyone, until you release hurt and pain from a parent, mom or dad, especially women with their daddies, men with their mommies, because those are your first relationship with the opposite sex. And it kind of molds you into what you're going to expect. But here's the thing. When you shift your mindset and say that, you know, mom's human too, dad's human too. And I had to do this because I had straight up daddy issues. And so, but to look at them without judgment. That's the key, without judgment. Look at them as a whole and say that they did the best that they can with the knowledge that they have. And in understanding that you forgive them on how they responded, because 9 times out of 10, they didn't heal. That was a generation that my parents were baby boomers. And, you know, I was a menopausal baby. So, and I'm sorry, my parents weren't baby boomers. My parents were from the silent generation. I was born during where people were having, you know, when they were going, the silent generation was going through menopause. My mama was having 2 kids. So she had me at 44. My dad was 40 at the time. She was 4 years older than him. And they were silent. They were silent because she was born in 1928. He was born in 32, I'm sorry. He was born in 1932. So as they were coming up, they had to keep their head down. They had to keep quiet. They had to do what they were told. Civil rights was not there. Civil rights didn't come back around till 1965. That was 30 plus years later, they were well into being an adult. So the way they grew up is totally different on how the time I grew up. My time was entering high school in '86. Grew up in the '90s. Totally different. We were outside. As soon as you wake up, you had a bowl of cereal, watch you some cartoons, and you was outside. And you might come in, use the bathroom. If you were a girl, if you were a boy, you use the bathroom outside. But you come in, use the bathroom, get you some water, maybe get you a little snack or whatever, or have lunch. Your ass is right back outside. You didn't come back in till the street lights came on. When I was growing up, there was a commercial that would come on at 10 o'clock. Parents, do you know where your children are? Straight up. Gen X was wild. But I can tell you, it taught us a lot. And so, in understanding how they grew up, my dad would tell stories about him being a sharecropper in Arkansas, picking cotton with his mama and his daddy and his siblings while he was 5 and 6 years old. Wow. My mom, born and raised in Chicago. She stayed in Chicago, but she was like second mom. Her older sister lived in Kansas, had a totally different life. My mom helped my grandmother with her 3 siblings. She was like second mom. And so in understanding that aspect, and then in the way that I grew up, and later on during my spirituality, finding out some things that happened between my parents' marriage where domestic violence happened. They both were divorced once, and then they divorced each other. So they both had 2 divorces. I've had 3. And so this generational, I don't like to say curse, but it is. It's like a generational energy. This generational energy and frequency of low vibration that trickles down to every generation. The time is now that those who are being awakened are breaking them. They are healing. Not only when you're healing yourself now in this time, you're not only healing yourself, you're healing your past generations, but you're also setting up your future generations to never have to experience that, because you, out of your bloodline, is healing your entire bloodline. So don't fear the spiritual journey. Don't fear it. Embrace it. Because I'm going to tell you what my higher self told me. Because my question was, why do I keep going through the same shit? Different people, different environment, different location, but it's still the same shit that keep coming up. Well, that's because I never dealt with the hurt and pain. So that energy, law of attraction, kept bringing it in, kept bringing it in. It will bring it in because it doesn't, your subconscious is like a movie with no sound. So you don't say, oh, what I don't want, or I don't want to have this, but then you're visioning it. Well, your subconscious is seeing, oh, okay, she wants more than this. He wants more of that. He wants more of that. And when you're very passionate about what you don't want, it's going to show up. So be very passionate about what you do want to experience. I was so passionate that I'm a visual person. And so to all my visuals, people out there, it's easy to manifest when you have a picture. And so on YouTube, when Source told me I was moving to Thailand, I'm like, Thailand? Okay, I don't know nothing about Thailand. All I see, the crap that's been put in Hollywood movies. So I went to YouTube and I looked up Thailand, and I started, Bangkok was the first thing that came up. And Bangkok is really, I call it a mixture of Chicago and New York. I'm from Chicago, so I lean towards that because of all of the different neighborhoods. And if you want a different vibe, you don't have to leave the city. You just go to a different neighborhood and you got a totally different vibe. That's Bangkok. And then it has the the systems. You have the above ground rails, but then you have the subway as well to get around. But with Bangkok, you also have the river. So that's why I connected to Chicago, because Chicago has a river. But with Bangkok, there's like river taxis. So you can go down and get on the river taxi. And I think they do have that now in Chicago. But you can get down on the river taxi and go from one end of Bangkok to the other just by the river. A lot of people don't know that. I learned it from watching videos. So I've watched over 1,000 videos literally about Thailand. And I saw one video because I was like, yeah, I like Bangkok. There's a lot of stuff to do, but I'm not a partier. So really, the shopping is good. So if you like shopping, go ahead, go to Bangkok, get your shopping done. You can go get a massage, do all those things like that. They have a lot of rooftop bars and things like that. Like I said, I'm not really a drinker where I go out to bars and things like that. But what I can say is, I was like, okay, this is all in Thailand. I even had to go to a map to see actually where Thailand was located. And then I saw that it was close to the equator. So I'm like, oh, then I started looking up the weather. I'm like, it's a tropical country. Okay, so the seasons is hotter, and fuck yes, it's hot. You're gonna melt your ass off hot. And so when I started looking, and then the islands started picking up. Whoop, my eyes opened up real quick then. Islands? You would think I was an island girl born in Chicago in winter. I'm March baby, March 1st, Pisces. But I love sand and palm trees and the water, and how I get to watch, and I'll put up some shorts about when I wake up, how the water changes right outside my window. It's so fascinating. And then I can see sometimes the current as it's shifting. I can see that in the water. It's so, I'm water baby. My water babies understand. We here. And so I saw a video. And in the video, Isaiah Ashley, and I'll tag him. He's a cool guy out here in Orlando. Orlando. I'm thinking of Florida when I used to. He's out here in Thailand, and he introduced me into Pattaya, where Pattaya now, it reminds me of Miami, and where you have all the high rises along the coast, you have the boats, you have, as you saw the marina in my other videos, it's just beautiful. Have all the little water activities outside Pattaya Beach, where all the action is, way down the beach from where I am. So I don't get the noise. I can open my window, and it kind of freaked me out because I'm on the 8th floor and there's no screen. So I can open my window, and I put my arm out, and I said, get your damn hand back inside this window, like I'm going to fall out the damn window, because it opens up high. Literally, I would have to intentionally want to jump out the window in order for me to fall out, but But there's, such a beautiful, he introduced me to Pattaya, but then I see the islands. And I wanted to look out my window, and I'm looking at the islands right now as I'm talking to you. And there's islands to the east, there's islands to the north, and there's islands to the south. And then there's islands to the east. It's one of the islands that I went to that you don't stay at the island. This island, like there's no hotels or anything on the island, but the Thais will take a boat out to the island where they have their businesses. They have restaurants. They sell all type of souvenirs. They have seats set all up. I have pictures. I'll post them up here. That was the excursion that the company lost my pictures. So, oh darn, I got to go do it again. But I'm not going to do it with that company. I'm going to do it with another one, because during that excursion, I felt like I was in a herd. Literally, it was hundreds of people that were being shifted and to like stations, and I didn't get to really sit down and enjoy where I was, like parasailing. I'm a water baby. I'm gonna stay my ass out the sky. Unless I'm in the plane, we all right. But me hanging with a parachute, that I'm not the one. That's not me. We're not gonna do that one again. It was an experience, and this is what I say: in order to figure out what you like, what's your cup of tea, you have to try things. Don't be afraid. I mean, they had me hooked in. They had me hooked in there so tight that when I got off, my back was hurting. But they had me harnessed up, so it was good. But I won't do that again. But jet skiing, oh, I'm gonna have some jet skis on my boat. That right there, I had a ball out there, and I had someone with me because I never drove a jet ski before. And he driving, and we bouncing over waves. I was having so much fun. And then he said, "Now your turn." I'm like, "What the hell? Oh shit!" Okay, we can do this. And it reminded me of the ATV. I never drove an ATV before, but I didn't have anybody on the ATV. The tour guide was in front of me. He's like, "You gonna follow me?" I said, "Good, because if I need some help, I need you close by." But I'm on the jet ski and I'm having a blast. And he said, "Your turn." I'm like, "Oh shit, okay." And then I'm going, and I got the hang of it. I started going fast. He goes, slow down." I was like, "Oh, okay." And we jumped over this way and splashed, both of us. He hit my hand. And then he took over. But hey, now I know how it feels because I can swim. And we tipped over. We was all good. Get back on the jet ski and keep it moving. But I didn't have that picture. But oh darn, I got to do it all over again so I can get some pictures. Oh golly. I'll just do it again and again and again and again. And so let's go wrap back around to the healing of the people that I see. Story time. I went to, here in Pattaya, there is a soul food restaurant called Culture Lounge, and I'll put their information in the comments or down below, somewhere down below. And I went there for, I've been there like 3 times now, 4 times now. And so, but this is like the second time I went. I went for breakfast. I had pancakes, eggs, very good. And so if you want to see what some Black people are in Thailand, now he has other cultures that come there, and I am so happy that people get to see, get to taste our food and really get to experience it and love it just like we do. And so, but I'm sitting there and I'm eating, and near the end of my meal, it was a gentleman behind me. It's a Black male. We were around the same age, and they found out we both were from Chicago. So we started having conversation, cool conversation, just talking. And the conversation came up about I won't say war, but it kind of is, social media war against Black men, against Black women, and vice versa. And so, he shared some of his story about his ex-wife, and from what I was picking up as he was talking, he wanted to build and she wanted to spend. And so the dynamic was his frequency and her frequency was not on the same frequency, if that, makes sense. So if he was on, now if you're from Chicago, you know this, if he listened to, what was it, 88.3 WKKC, if you know, you know. He's listening to that vibing out. But then she's listening to, what is it, 93.6? One of them it's one of them newer stations that had a lot of rap and hip hop, and I mean some of that gangster hip hop, rough and hard. And so if you listen to KKC, which was house music, and if you grew up in the 80s, 90s, you listen to KKC, especially on Friday night, Friday, Saturday, you listen to that music. it's mellow dance, you know, you vibing, but then dude coming over here with gangster rap, y'all not on the same frequency. So that's what I mean. Y'all not listening, y'all not vibing. Your tunes ain't matching his tunes, her tunes. Y'all not matching. And so that's what it was. And so when we got into the conversation, he really didn't understand why, like he was out at a club, lounge, or whatever, and he went over and he wanted to dance with a young lady. And she really started, it's like she pulled out the flashlight and did the interrogation. Now, ladies, don't do that. You know, sometimes he's like, I just wanted to dance. And she asking me all these questions. It's like his song was on and he's like, okay, I answer a couple of questions, see where this go. But I just want to get on the dance floor. When she finished her interrogation, they got on the dance floor, literally the last few seconds of the song. And then he said thank you and started walking away. And she's like, where you going? He's like, literally, all I just wanted to do was dance. I didn't want to like take you out. I mean, he said she had attitude, asking him all these questions about why he want to do this. What do he do for a living? And how much, you know, why was he out? What was his last relationship? Sometimes a dance is just a dance. You know, and I told him I get that, you know, that's not some questions. Personally, if you say, you know, you want to dance, I like dancing. I'm like, all right, come on, let's go. Get on the dance floor. Why? Because you can catch a person's vibe without even talking to them, if you know what I mean. If you're open and you're intuitive, I didn't have to ask questions. I can dance with you and get your vibe. I'm intuitive. Source tells me I can get your whole reading without you opening your mouth and figure out if I want to continue this conversation or let a dance be a dance. We all have these capabilities, but not everyone trusts it, listen to it, or even are aware that it's there. So when I was explaining to him some of the things that from a black woman's perspective, why we're like that, daddy issues and the same. And he said the same thing about some of the men he come across with mommy issues. Because, you know, his mama is black, his aunties are black. And so for when he started hearing, even when he had some friends, he told me he had to stop talking to because they would start talking about black women this, black women that, they need this, they want to do, they, you know, always manly, blah, blah, blah. All the BS that's out there talking about black women. And he's like, you know your mama black, right? Well, yeah, I'm not talking about you, but no, your mama's black. Yeah, your auntie, your grandmama, all in black. So when you start talking about black women and you trying to lump them all, you're lumping them into the same category. And I said, yeah, it's not fair. Talk about the situation with the person. This is what I told him. Talk about the situation you had with that person. I don't take what happened to me with one man and bring it on to another man. He had nothing to do with that. He has a clean slate until he adds the shit onto his slate. And then now my attitude is based on the stuff that he has done. Not everybody is like that. I understand that. And then in the moment, a black man walked up and interrupted our literally, we were in a conversation and he just interrupted the conversation. And I like meeting people, so I'm smiling, always happy. And he started talking to the guy. And the guy notices he completely ignored me. He didn't even say hello to me. And he mentioned something about Chicago. And I was like, oh, yeah, you know, I'm thinking he's talking to both of us. And he was like, oh, yeah, the guy back there from Chicago. So I said, hey, Chi-Town. The man looking crazy. So I don't think he was from Chicago. I think he was just saying something to be saying something. Because literally when I said, hey, Chi-Town, if you're from Chi-Town, you understand. You be like, oh, what's up? You know, he didn't do that. So I'm looking. And then the guy, no eye contact with both people. He literally had a conversation with the dude. And I felt ice, like an ice door come in front of me. Like, he's not talking to you. So I just said, wow. And I just going through my phone and I'm just like, and I'm reading the guy, literally, he has an issue with black women. And I'm not saying that because of what he said. I'm saying because of his frequency, his energy that he was pulling off that I was reading. He had an issue with black women. And the gentleman I was talking to, he said, hey, this is Nikki, she's from Chicago too, trying to pull me into the conversation. Dude literally was like, oh, hi. And then anyway, so I got these condo, like he trying to sell this man a condo. And just completely ignored. So I didn't say anything. I just laughed because I knew what his issue was. And it wasn't with me. He needed to heal. I had nothing to do with that. So I didn't take it personal. It's like, okay, so whenever you're ready to change your whole trajectory of where your life is going, you need to heal that wound. Until you heal that wound, you're not going to move past from where you are. Because you can't get to the next step, the next level in this game called life. Can't get to the next level holding on to shit with the healed, unhealed, and broken heart. That can't go to the next level. It has to be healed. So until you do the work, you're going to stay on that level. So when he leaves, the guy was like, wow. I said, so now you understand why some women have their guard up, because we encounter that sometimes on a daily basis. Some women take it personally. I don't take it personally because I don't know that dude. I ain't did nothing to that dude. So his issue he had it before he walked up to me. He walked up to our table. He had that already. It had nothing to do with me. So I know how to separate that when people have problems. That's a you problem, not a me problem. I didn't cause that problem. So, he was disrespectful silently. He did silent disrespect. And it's like, okay, have the day that you deserve. Because you reap what you sow. How you treat people is what it's going to come back on you. Period. No matter what. So I was cool. I was like, and my response was, I wrapped that energy up. And I gave it right back to him. You take that energy right with you when you leave. So when he left, the guy I was talking to was like, wow. I was like, yeah. And I brought it back. I said, this is why. You see, he did not acknowledge me. He's like, I noticed that. That's why I was trying to bring you into the conversation. He was rude how he came and interrupted our conversation. Because he saw no value in me. And it wasn't me that he was looking at. He was whoever broke his heart and had that pain on him was a black woman. And he saw her in me sitting there. And he didn't want to have anything to do with her. It wasn't me. He didn't know me. Had he, sat down and have a conversation with me, he'd found out I was fabulous. That I have a pure heart. And whatever was done to him, I wouldn't have done it. So his loss, not mine. But that's the understanding. So going back to the men here in Thailand, black men here in Thailand, there are some, I want to say 99%, those that live here. And some who are trying to figure out if they want to be here or not. But the ones that I've come across, I'll say 90% that I have come across. Yeah, so say I came across 10, 7. 7 of them was like that dude. 3 of them, the owner of the Culture Lounge, sweet guy, very hospitable, have a conversation, greet you, all of that. Then I met those 2 that guy that I was talking about, and then I went to Culture Lounge Bar where they have dinner, they have jazz Thursday and Sunday night, and I went there, and even then, 2 people spoke to me. One guy was like, he wasn't as bad as the guy that came up to the table, but from listening to his conversation to whoever he was on the phone with, because he was loud and he had on speaker. Don't do that. You in a restaurant, you having a conversation, get you an earbud and have that conversation between you and that person. He loud and all had her business all over the darn lounge. It wasn't that big, but I can tell he felt like he was the prize. Told her to send him some money and buy him a drink. It was funny. It was, I was just like, okay. But then there was another one I met, and he was out. I don't know if they were friends or whatever he was doing. He was out with two Thai ladies, and he came to my table and offered to buy me a drink, which was sweet, but I was leaving. So I told him maybe next time I see him up there, I have a rain check. But he was like, very nice. Even his energy was not like the guy the other two. He's a nice guy, pure energy. He meant no disrespect to me or anything like that, and I could feel that. And so I say all that to say this, is that I've seen some videos, especially some women in Bangkok. There's a lot of black women in Bangkok, because the videos they show you, there's like tons, hundreds, I can even say thousands of videos about going solo in Bangkok. Thailand is a huge country, and has a huge vibe, has vibes everywhere. I mean, if you want peace, tranquility, you want the nature and the mountains, Chiang Mai, Chang, C-H-A-N-G, Mai, or Chiang Rai, R-I, that's up north of Bangkok. If you like city vibes, you like to party, like the rooftops and all of that, Bangkok is your thing. But if you like beach life, Miami life, Pattaya. Now, when you come to the islands, Phuket is a beautiful island, but it's also touristy. So if you don't mind that, I'm not, I tried it because I've never done it before. And so I tried it. I don't like that. So I will go to some of the other islands, because they have a lot of islands here that you can go to. One of my favorites that I'm looking to go, that I fell in love with before I even got here, Koh Samui. Koh Samui is such a beautiful island, and it's luxurious, and I like luxury. I've been in luxury in this life and past lives, and so this is something that has been ingrained in me, in royalty, and has nothing to do with greed or anything like that. It's just quality. I'm glamorous, and I used to get called out for that. Oh, who she thinks she is. You so bougie, this, that, and the third. Has nothing to do with that. It's in my DNA. And luxury, even as a child, I didn't do the gym shoes and blue jeans and all of that. I had dress pants on. I had slacks on. I had nice shoes on, nice boots, and I wore skirts. And you saw my closet. I've got a lot of dresses in there. I'm a girly girl, and so got my nails done. I even broke down and went and got my eyebrows tinted. Because my eyebrows literally blended into my skin. And I got eyelashes. And so I said, look, never had eyelashes before. I always been afraid that my eyeballs would swell up. And I wanted to look like, when I wear mascara, my eyelashes are long, but the color is pale, and you can barely see them unless I put mascara on. So I said, let's give this a try. So I did a whole self-care beauty day. It was so much fun. I actually got my nails done, got my face done. And I like it because I like accentuating my eyes. What do you think? Okay, so Thailand, moving to Thailand has been a beautiful experience. Especially when people, and this is not validation that I needed other people to see it, but to have my doorman to say, you're always happy, you're always smiling, you're always laughing. And, it's not hard to miss being the only black person in the building. I think I am. I haven't seen anybody else. So, and it was funny because I can get cleaning in my condo. All I have to do is go down to what we would call the property manager. Here they call it the juristic office. So I can just go down to the juristic office and tell them 3 days in advance when I want my condo clean. And so she said, okay. And she went and she's like, okay, they'll be there on Wednesday. And I'm teasing like, you remember my condo? She said, yes, I remember you. And I just laughed because you're like, how you gonna forget me? And it's not just because I'm black, and but I had a couple of days when people, especially with the Grab drivers, ask me, you live here? Yes. I mean, it's a condo in my eyes, because I don't look at it as in, I mean, it's a nice area. I mean, you can see it's a nice area and I love it. But it matches my frequency. That's where I'm going with this. I'm on the 888 frequency. I'm on the abundance frequency. I'm on the frequency where I embody abundance, and it just flows to me. And so I don't take it for granted, or I'm not chasing it or anything like that. It's just who I am. So I say all that to say, how did I get here? Source is my teacher, has always been my teacher. But those 20 months when I sat homeless, and the last few months when I was sitting in the basement of a person I considered a friend, trying to figure out how the fuck did I get here? And when Source told me you're in the eye of the storm, and the storm was me shifting timelines. It was from the timeline of everything that I was in, that I was doing, that was on me, that didn't belong to me. I was not supposed to be there. That's why shit was coming up, upheaval. That's when, I injured my knee. I was working a job I had no business working. I was married to people that I wasn't supposed to be married to. I was settling. I was putting everybody before me. I was self-sacrificing and self-sabotaging. And so when Source sat my ass down and told me that I was in the eye of the storm, if you picture a hurricane, in the center is calm. It's around where all the upheaval and the rains and the turmoil and torment. I can't get the word out, but you get it. All the upheaval was happening. And so I was sitting in the eye of the storm. And so Source was saying that now that you're sitting in the eye of the storm, where are you going? Oh, no. Okay, but where do you want to go? And first thing I said, I want peace. So what does that look like to you? And I started pitching water first. I want to be around water. I want to see water. And I always wanted to live on an island. So it took me back to my childhood. And if you know, we used to take pictures out of magazines and tape them up on our wall. Whatever it is that you like, you taped it on your wall. Well, on my wall, I had models, but I also had, the models were on islands. They were with palm trees, sand, water. They were on boats. They were, I had a lot of pictures of the islands. And that's when turquoise became one of my favorite colors. And also the sunset, the orange. You had the sun when it's setting, you have all the different colors as it's setting. That became one of my colors. I mean, one of my favorite colors as well. And so I started getting imagery and started watching videos and pictures of the sunset and seeing people on their adventures as they went through Thailand, and looking at condos and looking at the views from the condo and what is it that I wanted. And I really had to narrow it down what I wanted, because I didn't know. I knew what I didn't want. And Source was like, I didn't ask you what you didn't want. I asked you, what did you want to experience? It's a big difference, because how you answer that with the feeling and the details of what it is that you want to experience. Details to a certain extent where you're not, if it ain't this, I don't want it. You don't want to do that, because what you're giving in detail, you're giving it to Source, and Source co-creating with you. Source has something, okay, that I got an idea of what it is that you want, and then go boom and give you something that you didn't even think was possible. Because Source will elevate what it is that you want, what you desire, to blow your mind. Source like to blow your mind. I want to tell you that. So that was one of the things I said. I said, feel free, blow my mind. That's what I want. I want to experience magic and miracles. And I want to tell you, I have been experiencing magic and miracles and mind-blowing experiences. And it only just begun. Because I just heard that. Again, I've always said, when I talk about it, I would hear, it only just begun. It's like, even right now, my heart is just like, I can't wait. I'm excited. Excited to wake up, excited to go to sleep. I'm excited. I'm just excited. And so I got here, my spiritual journey. I stopped running. I mean, shit, being homeless, I never thought I would be there. And it was, part of that was self-inflicted. And I take accountability on my part. I gave up. I was pretty much like, fuck this shit. Seriously. And it was just the scenario of things was happening. I injured, separated from my third husband, left Atlanta, moved to Chicago during COVID. Well, the end of COVID, because in Atlanta it was wide open. When I got to Chicago, it was at the end of COVID. You still had to wear a mask here and there. But I was at a point, even being a trained chef, I didn't want to do that anymore, because that wasn't I love cooking, and I like cooking for people. I love seeing their reaction when they taste my food. And you know when your food is good, when it's silent and all you hear is, oh my goodness. Yeah, you're on point. And I enjoyed that, because I like people to have a good time. When they're with me, I want you to make sure you have a good time. And so how I got in that route, because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. You cook so good, you should have your own restaurant. I'll come to your restaurant, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm the type of person, I don't fuck around with stuff to just go into a half-ass. My mom taught me that you don't half-ass do shit. If you gonna sweep the floor, goddamn it, get in them corners. If you see something stuck in the corner, don't walk past. Get you something and get it out. You saw it, now you own it to correct it. And so if you sweeping the floor, make sure you're giving 110, 120%. And I've always been like that. So if I'm gonna open up a restaurant, I need to know the ins and outs. That's how I got to culinary school. Then from culinary school, I didn't know what area. Culinary got a whole lot of areas. You got quick service, you got fine dining, you have personal chefs, you have resorts, you have buffets, you have banquets, you have catering. There's so many different ways, so many different areas in culinary. It was like, I don't know. So let's try it. So I got to work on a cruise ship in Hawaii. Then I worked at a resort in Orlando. I've worked at private restaurants. I've worked for chain store. That's a whole different ball game with the prepared foods that you go in and get. Yeah, those people, well, some of those that are in charge have some type of chef background. And so I even done that. And when I got injured, it was like a wake-up call. But they kept telling me that the company kept telling me wasn't nothing wrong. Their doctors kept telling me wasn't nothing wrong with me. But my lawyer, and I know me, that was another thing. Don't nobody, if you're a black woman, you understand. When we talk about our pain, it always get downplayed. And I felt like it was a fight trying to say, no, I'm in pain, but I still had to pay my bills. I still had to keep a roof over my head. So I'm pushing myself on an injury and then trying to compensate from one knee to the other knee. So then that knee started hurting because I'm putting all my weight on one side of my body. And so it wasn't until my lawyer did an assessment and come to find out I can't do that job anymore because my injury was worse than what the doctor for the other company was stating. And because they kept saying that I could go back to work, my injury got worse. And so I can't do that anymore. I can't be in the kitchen anymore because of my knees. And so leaving the job where I was just fed up, being a woman, first of all, in a commercial kitchen is wild that you're not respected. And now being a black woman in a commercial kitchen, they're like, what are you doing in here? You should be either a server or a dishwasher. And I'm like, who taught you how to cook? They mama. Right. Mama could only cook at home. So she couldn't cook for a bunch of people in a restaurant. And so I had to work 3 times as hard to prove that I can stand right next to that man that I was standing next to. And I ended up running circles around some of those men and became managers. And then I had problems even then. People not wanting to listen to me because they like who she thinks she is. Your boss. It's not I think, it's that I know I'm your boss. And so just going through that whole drama, I got tired and was like, fuck that shit. I'm tired of all of it. I will walk away from all of it. And I did. And assuming that I could get another job or something in the line of my knees, some type of support or what have you, it was drawn out. And I mean, those were the longest 3 years of trying to settle my case with my knees and my injury and trying to survive doing all. And when I say trying to survive, going to work in pain, not having the support, being abandoned, not being healed, trying to figure out how the fuck did I get here? Why? I mean, I don't do, I have people's best interests at heart. How the fuck did I get here? And it's like, trying to just figure out why was all this happening to me? And I ask that question. Whenever I have a question, I always ask source, what's going on? Why am I here? And I would get, my answer was, are you ready now? That was, are you ready to heal now and move into where you're supposed to be? So being in the eye of the storm was all that bullshit that I was entertaining, self-sacrificing, destroying myself in. Was I ready to get out of that? And I finally said, yes, I'm ready. I'm ready to get out of all of that. And that started my healing journey. And the first thing that Source jumped right into was healing daddy issues, which was my foundation. And I get it. And now that I'm on the other side, I understand. Because part of my mission is to help heal the brokenhearted. And whatever broke your heart, whether it was a person, a job, a place, your parents, your sibling, a loved one, whatever broke your heart, I'm here to show you how to heal that. because I have about 11 Lifetime movies. If you know anything about Lifetime, it's so dramatic. It's so dramatic and have a lot of twists and turns inside their movies, but they are so good. But, you know, they triumphant at the end. I got about 11 of those stories in my life. But now I understand why I have gone through those things. Because one is to show me who I am. To show me how strong I am. To show me my power. I always said, I'm a warrior. I know in my past lives, I was some type of warrior. I was a samurai. I would fight. And it's like, I stand up for justice, but not in the matrix. And because, like, I don't do marches. I don't do, like, fundraising for diseases and all of that energy for disease. Do you know that all that energy is causing more disease? Where your energy goes, that's where your energy flows, that's what grows. And so instead of having rallies and things like that for, instead of, like, and this might ruffle some feathers, police brutality against Black people, have rallies that uplift and support Black people. Where your energy flows, it grows. So if you're marching against brutality and all of your energy and your rage and your frustration for hours, you're feeling that energy, it's going to grow. And guess what's going to happen? More brutality. Because that's where you're putting your energy to. But if you're putting your energy towards the solution, not making what other people do, but the solution of coming together, the solution of standing in your power. No one can do anything to you unless you give them the power. If you step back and really see what's going on, that whole programming is falling apart. When you, and I'm here and I'm clairvoyant, so sometimes if you see me look away, it's because I'm hearing something or I'm seeing something. And I just heard that just went away. Okay, I guess it's not meant for you to hear. It was meant for me. Okay, so let's move on. So where your energy goes, that is what will grow. So see, the programming wants you to not think about yourself. They want you to sacrifice. Confirmation. They want you to self-sacrifice. They want you to keep all of your pain hidden. They want you to keep the red door locked. And if you know about the red door, that's your suppressed anger, your hurt, your pain, your tears, your frustration. You push it down. So when you push it down, you lock it behind a red door. But they want to keep you that way. So here's the thing. Let's not do that. Let's not keep that red door filled. What we want to do is break that sucker off its fucking hinges. Get it all out of you. Because all of those pain, everything has energy. So when you understand and recognize what's going on, life is a game. Okay, let's start there. Life is a game. But in order to win the game, you got to know what you're playing. Okay, you got to know the rules of the game. You got to know who your oppositions are. You got to know, what pieces are, on each level. What is it that you have to conquer in order to move to the next level? So the game of the matrix game that you're born into, because you are born into it, That's when documents are signed, your footprint is put on contracts, you are given numbers, social security number, your birth certificate number, you're given all these numbers. You are a product to the matrix when you were born. You're assigned to the matrix. And then you're put into a programming. And in that programming, it's telling you that, you got to go to kindergarten, you got to go to, or preschool. It's better for you to do that before you go into elementary school. And as you're going through elementary school, you might be learning math, science, social studies, or civics, or whatever they call it now, doing a little PE. But what you're really learning is how to stand in a straight line when you're told to. When you hear the bell, which turns into your alarm clock, you get up and you move and you go into class or you go into work. You learned how to stand in line. You learn how to be quiet. You learn how to follow these signals. Because the curriculum is the same curriculum that's been taught in what, the 50s? When is it going to change? And I hear some stuff about the new math. What the hell? What is new math? Math are numbers. Numbers don't change and numbers don't lie. All you need to know is the formula, and you will get your answer. Same thing with the matrix. All you need to know is the formula. You will get your answer. And so, as you enter this matrix game, those of you who, everybody has a contract. Let's talk about soul contracts right quick. Soul contracts. I hear people talking about, oh, you don't have a soul. Everything has one. Everything has a soul. Everything that's on this planet has a soul and also has source, God, spirit, whatever it is that you like to say. I say all three. And everything has that. So everything has a contract. That means everything has a purpose. So their soul came down here. I like how the light is changing. Oh, I'm sorry, I diverted. But everyone has a contract. Your soul sat with Source, and you co-created together the experiences that you are going to have here on earth in this human form. So, pause for a second.